a city forever governed by its past, but far more than just a museum with a message. There is also the Hiroshima of Cold War politics and of scientific research. 15 years after, Hiroshima is still suffering and studying the effects of atomic warfare, as Maclear reports from this atomic bomb hospital.
That was 11 years after the bomb. There were still so many casualties, the Red Cross built this special emergency hospital. The name here in Japanese, the Atomic Hospital.
Early morning, the lineup of outpatients begins. 70 a day, every day. New ones come all the time. 15 years later, the rate of anemia and leukemia is growing among those exposed to the bomb. The questions of the doctors are the same now. What happened to you when the bomb fell? Where were you standing? On every desk, there is a map computing the degree of radiation and distance. These ailing survivors were far from the hypercenter of the explosion. All those in a 2.5-mile radius were killed instantly by the blast or died soon after from the terrific heat burns. Those on the fringe who did survive are kept alive by daily injections. This man, a German Jesuit priest, told me there is no cure for the radiation sickness from which he suffers. There is worse. This woman is blind, has leukemia, and severe radiation burns that will not heal. Her case is not unusual. To survive here is each man's individual struggle, and there is an echo of it in these grim wards, in the bells and the paper art that hang in every room. The bells mean good luck, and the little paper birds, get well. Each relative brings one more on each visit, and you can count the years they have been here. And the years, says Dr. Shigeto, the director of this hospital, have not put an end to the pain.
Dr. Shigeto, are people still dying from the effects of this bomb 15 years later?
Yes, in the hospital, every year about 40 or 50 patients die.
40 or 50 people die every year?
Yes.
One hospital for treatment and another for research. This collection of huts overlooking Hiroshima is called the ABCC, the Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission. Its purpose, coldly realistic. What to expect, what to do in the future.
Hiroshima is always the grim reminder not only of what did happen, but of what might happen again. 15 years later, a staff of 600 scientists here at the Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission are intensifying their studies into radiation to help the past, and if it should ever come to it, the future survivors.
This project is a division of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, attempting to replace fear by fact, the known for the unknown. But the facts are hardly pleasant. 250,000 Japanese survived the two bombs, the same number said to have died, and half of these now form a permanent study group for the laboratories here. Regular blood counts are taken and compared to a similar number who were not exposed. So far, the microscopes have shown a heavy increase in blood cancer, 12 times the normal rate, and also in blindness, 5 times the norm. They detail the health and habits of 250,000 people, but it all adds up to one very brief conclusion. The life expectancy of those exposed is very much shorter.
An American and a Japanese scientist jointly administer this project, Dr. Darling and Dr. Maki. I believe your two major studies here are in the fields of genetics and that of lifespan. Is there any evidence that the people who were exposed to the bomb, to the radiation, have a shorter lifespan?
Such a kind of study, it will take a long time, so that we have not yet the exact figure about the result of this study. We should wait a little while.
I believe you've also made a study of animals in this regard. Have you found any shorter lifespan there?
Oh, just we understanding was that in literature, there is some shortening of lifespan in animal studies. But how with the human body, we don't know yet.
Dr. Darling, what about this question of genetics? What have been the results of your studies, if there are any apparent yet?
Well, a long study of 6 years was made by ABCC, at which time the children who were born to parents who were exposed but were conceived after the bombing were compared with an equal number of children from parents who had not been exposed. And this included about 80,000 children over the 6-year period. And in the comparison of these two groups, we could find no significant differences between the number of any indices that you might want to mention, infant mortality, malformations, so on, in the group.
Yet do you feel there's still a popular belief that there are genetic upsets from people exposed to radiation?
Well, I'm sure that this has been greatly overplayed in world concern. It's a natural anxiety, and I think that, unfortunately, there has been a great deal of emphasis placed on the possibility and a good deal of misleading information probably on it.
Well, these fears probably were strongest when ABCC first set up here nearly 15 years ago. The longer you continue in study, do you get more optimistic, or are you still a little cautious?
Well, from the scientific point of view, we wouldn't be here if we knew the answers.
Dr. Darling also stressed to me that the studies here bear little relation to modern warfare, the first A-bomb being a simple affair compared to what man can unleash today. But though a future nuclear war might destroy much of the human species, Dr. Darling does not believe that it could radically change it. He says mutation, the reproduction of very different beings that we might look on as monsters, is not at all likely. He says the genes, the structures, the cell structures which determine the human shape are hard enough to change by design, let alone by accident. And yet the fear of it remains here in Hiroshima.
Among the young, on the university campus, the fear is greatest. It all looks natural enough, but no one knows the mental effects of the bomb on the new and on the coming generations. Are they normal? No one can tell them for sure, and doubt forms its own disease.